issue today as well for players not to celebrate in huddles when they score. So we'll wait and see, shall we?
No hugs, no huddles.
No.
What's next, I wonder? Now, there are calls today for proposed changes to England's planning system to do more to help combat climate change. The impact of where we build, along with rising temperatures, are changing natural habitats.
In her next Greens issue report, Alexis has been to Surrey to see how conservationists there are helping the natural world to flourish. This piece was filmed before lockdown.
If there's one positive the coronavirus pandemic has highlighted, it's our need to connect with the outdoors. But here in the Surrey Hills, wildlife are under threat. Plants, insects and animals are all at risk of disappearing because of global warming. The Surrey Wildlife Trust manages thousands of acres of countryside, and its Chief Executive, Sarah Jane, is going to explain why we need to preserve it.
When I was a kid, we would walk through a field and you'd have clouds of butterflies coming up around you. And there are very few places now where we experience that. And they're really important as part of our pollinator species. We've lost over 42% of those in recent years. Again, if we look at our bumblebees, we've lost over 40% of those. So these are examples of species which for many of us would have been common just 30 years ago when we were children. We're currently in a situation where we have a climate crisis. We also have an ecological crisis. We have a health crisis as we're experiencing at the moment. Many of these things are attributed to the fact that we are losing our natural environment and losing our nature. And one of the things that we've noted in particular is that actually, as well as being in decline, nature can also provide us with the solution. We at the Wildlife Trust are saying is let's protect 30% by 2030 of our land for nature, which we're calling Wild Belt. Wild Belt is a designation which basically says to people in this area, an area like this would be included, we're going to do what we need to do to look after nature, to bring back the birds, the butterflies, the small mammals, the shrews, the water voles that we're desperate to see in the county again. At the moment, we're talking to government about it, and you might have heard Boris Johnson in Prime Minister's Question Times talking about having wild belts all over the UK as one of the ways in which we address the threats of climate change.
The warming climate is not only causing marked ecological changes, higher temperatures cause the air to hold more water vapour, which brings more intense rain and leads to more flooding. Longer, hotter summers, which are more likely with the rising temperatures, create the right conditions for wildfires to take hold and occur more frequently.
We have had more wildfires and are seeing an increase both in the frequency and also the severity of the wildfires. We're very, very close here to Thursley National Nature Reserve, which is one of our most precious lowland heathlands, and that had a very serious fire last summer, and actually the consequences of that for wildlife and for people can be quite serious. Paradoxically, we also experience huge amount of flooding, and that's another thing that we're seeing an increase of. And one of the interesting things about Surrey is that actually in the very serious floods a few years ago, we had worse flooding here in Surrey than in places like the Somerset Levels, which again, people don't necessarily realise that this is a very wet county. Luckily, we do know what to do about it. We know that nature provides the solutions, so we can put in natural flood management schemes, for example, to help slow the flow of water and soak up the water. An area that we're standing in now is a really good example of being able to store water and relieve those flooding problems.
There are answers to the climate emergency, but we all need to help out.
And so there's something that we can all do. Most importantly, that we think about it and think about how we introduce nature into every space that we have.
Well, Sally, having a less tidy garden is one way to introduce wildlife into the garden. So,
perfect.
Yeah, make it messy and wild. Why not?
Right up my street.
Yes.
OK, weekend weather, let's look ahead.
Yes, looking pretty good tomorrow, but fairly unsettled on Saturday. Let's take a look at your weather pictures. Annie Hoare took this shot of her dog on a wet walk around Fareham Marina.
Rainbow and sunshine in Wimborne. Jane Goff, thank you.
And Becky sent us this shot of the grey skies at Bracklesham. Eventually the rain did clear. We are still seeing 1 or 2 showers out there at the moment and a good deal of cloud, but the cloud will start to disperse. Some lovely rainbows today. This picture was photographed in Hamworthy in Dorset by one of our weather watchers. So through the course of tomorrow, it will be a much better day than today, staying dry with some decent amounts of sunshine, although a touch cooler in many places. There is an ice warning in force overnight tonight and through the morning tomorrow until 10 o'clock. Clear skies will develop overnight tonight, maybe some mist and fog patches as well, and temperatures will fall into minus figures, lows of -1, maybe -2 degrees. So the chance of ice on untreated surfaces following the rainfall we've had today. Through the day tomorrow, there will be some decent amounts of sunshine. A cloudy start in many places, but it should stay mainly dry. The mist and fog could linger for northern and eastern areas, but elsewhere the sunny spells will develop and temperatures will reach a high between 4 or 5 degrees. A cool feeling day, certainly a lot colder than recent days. On the inshore waters tomorrow, that's from Selseybill to Lyme Regis. The winds are easterly or northeasterly, 3 or less, becoming southerly 4 to 6, then increasing 6 to gale 8. So the winds will start to increase as we head into Saturday and the weekend. Tomorrow night starts on a dry note, a clear note as well. The showers will start to push in, the cloud will increase and we'll see a rain band arrive during the early hours of Saturday morning. As it nudges into that colder air, it may turn to sleet on the leading edge of the rain band as it moves its way eastward. So tomorrow night, temperatures will dip away to freezing or just below. As I said, on the leading edge of that rain band, we could have a bit of sleet, even the odd snow flurry. And then the rain band moves through. It could be quite heavy rain at times, with it fairly blustery conditions. But through the afternoon on Saturday, some areas will start to brighten up. There will be a good deal of cloud following this weather front as it skirts its way eastwards. So here's the outlook for the rest of the week. A cool feeling day, but some decent amounts of sunshine tomorrow, high of 4 or 5 degrees. Slightly less cold on Saturday and on Sunday as well. Saturday's the wet day of the weekend. Heavy rain with blustery conditions with that rain band. Sunday, mainly dry with sunny spells, the winds falling lighter, and into next week, staying fairly mild and pretty unsettled. Sally.
A little less rain, though. That's got to be good, hasn't it?
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Alexis. Remember that Make a Difference campaign that we just talked about a little earlier in the programme about giving away laptops to help children who are learning from home at the moment? Grab a pen and paper very, very quickly because it is coming straight up. All the details for you after this programme. That's it from us. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Good night.